3, 2, 1. Today's podcast is presented by PODGO. PODGO is the easiest way for you to monetize your podcast, providing podcasters with a flat rate for ad space so you always know how much you get when you include an ad from PODGO. We recently joined as a member, and you can too. Apply today to become a member and immediately be connected with advertisers that fit your audience. That's podgo.co at podgo.co. Don't forget to add the 2-on-1 podcast in the How Did You Hear About PODGO section of your application. Now get ready for the rest of the episode.
Well, Alex, I'm pretty disappointed I'm getting a question from you right now. I don't appreciate your article. Guys, we are here. Hockey is back. And so is beef between players and journalists.
That was
I like that.
Fun times.
Kiki,
That was the best part to come out of that game, to be honest. That was the best thing to come out of that game.
Yeah. Steve Simmons is always say what you want about him. He always creates headlines, even for himself, which yeah, and especially I don't know why he went after Myrtle the way he did, but
I don't know.
Steve Simmons, ladies and gentlemen. What did you guys? So first off, since our last show, I mean, the Rangers are facing elimination tonight.
Beautiful.
That'll be fun. The Habs had continued to disappoint me.
Yeah.
And the Leafs lost in the exact way we thought they would lose against the Blue Jackets.
Yeah, that big game.
Yeah. The Islanders and Florida is as boring of a series we all thought it would be. And the Bruins are off to a terrible start. We'll go to each series in the round robin a little later, guys. But I think first off, the question I have to ask is, what has been your highlight? Here we are, day 4 of the play-in, of playoffs being back.
Would it be cheesy of me to say just that, just having hockey back?
Yes, I wanted it.
Okay.
How about why Alex is thinking about this? Do we want to go to you, Daniel?
I am having a lot of fun with the Blackhawks and the Oilers. Just like that high scoring, like back and forth. And then I think like on Twitter, everyone's like, Jonathan Toews has come back from the dead.
I don't think he ever died.
That second game.
I think relevancy, yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. It has been as Pete Blackburn called it, the suck Olympics. Alex, what about you? Have you narrowed it down here?
That second game last night was spectacular. Edmonton and Chicago. Connor McDavid.
Man.
That's it. Like, I think watching Connor McDavid has to be the highlight.
I hear he's pretty good.
Yeah,
Good
I
guy.
mean,
Good guy.
How many players can have a 4-point night like he did in game 1 and no one talks about it, and then somehow turns around and is even better for game 2? Did you guys see his intermission interview with Harmarayan Singh from Sportsnet?
No, but Mike texted me something about his interview.
It was just questioning. It was they like hockey players obviously normally give that whole pucks and they go, but McDavid was like less interested in all ways. It was like
less interesting than not interesting at all. That's a
Why?
It was.
We did well. I don't know. What did he say?
It was like, we have a good start here, and Harmer Ryan says, "What do you guys have to do to continue to like different from your first game?" And he's like, "Good start, continue on that." And like before Harmer Ryan could like finish saying thank you, good luck, McDavid was already gone. It was you can tell I'm sure he was fed up when people in Colorado said he didn't have a personality, but
yeah, but he hasn't proved that. So that he does have a person. He also is the fun police. Did you hear what he said about the hats? You know how people are throwing hats at staff members? He goes, it was something about like not needed.
Really?
It was really, it was really Connor McDavid type. I'll find the quote.
Okay. That's a little disappointing. It was weird that the Edmonton bubble had those hats ready, but in the East, there was nothing for Andrei Svechnikov when he scored.
Yeah, that was funny.
About that, because I love Svechnikov. The East have to pick it up, and Carolina was home team in that game too.
Oh, here we go. The quote is, "I thought it was unnecessary. Just drop the puck and let's get going."
All right.
That is the most
Just
hockey player quote I've ever heard, and the exact reason Hockey's never going to be great
I mean,
in the United States of America.
okay, that's fair. That's very fair.
Very fair.
Well, hey,
Yeah.
that's a discussion for another day, though. If we are talking though about growing the game or just making the game for everyone, we have had a bit of step forwards when it comes to like players and protesting here. Originally, we all started with these players linking arms for the anthems, united, to end racism and also to support the frontline workers during the pandemic. And then game one before the Oilers and the Blackhawks happened, Matt Dumba came out and gave a beautiful speech and took a knee during only the American anthem. Afterwards, he did say if he could do the, and he would do the Canadian one. And then during that, Darnell Nurse for Edmonton and Chicago's Malcolm Subban put their arm on his shoulder for support. And then during the anthem of the Minnesota game, he raised his fist in protest. And the first players in an actual game to kneel was yesterday between Dallas and Las Vegas. Jason Dickinson, Tyler Seguin from Dallas, along with Ryan Reeves and Robin Leonard from Las Vegas during both the anthems yesterday. Did it as well, guys. We are really starting to see, it's not enough yet, and we can have that discussion in a second, but how do you guys feel, starting with you, Daniel, that we're starting to see some players, especially Seguin, who was actually at some Black Lives Matter protests, stepping up and showing their support?
Yeah, it's like a big thing. I think we've talked about it before. Like I've talked about how like I'm very thankful for you guys kind of supporting me as a fan, because things I've talked about before growing up were like I looked at Paul Correa and that's about it, to be honest, as like the guy. I know like Richard Park was there, but like he wasn't as big of an icon. And it's just something that it's very positive for me to kind of see, because like I think for my own personal experience, like, it's even people now when they're like, oh, you're doing journalism, and then they're like, oh, what's like your focus? I'm like, oh, hockey. They're like, oh, what, hockey? That's a very like unheard of thing. Like they'd ask me, oh, why aren't you focusing on like, I don't know, basketball or something? And it's certainly something that I'm happy to see that's going on right now with the game, that there is more of an awareness to this. Like people are going to compare it to like the NBA, the MLB, other leagues, and say like, like, why are you happy about this? But for me, what I kind of see is like, it's a start. It's something that, we've kind of come through the cracks of this hockey culture thing that like for so long seemed like we couldn't penetrate it.
Mm-hmm. Alex.
Yeah, it's funny that you bring that up, because I was just about to compare it to the NBA. Because I feel like I think it's a good start. Right. Mm-hmm. And I think that's great that they've started, but because Batman always or as hockey fans, we always like to compare the NHL and the NBA in terms of how they're doing things. And I feel like the NBA has their own set of issues in terms of how they're dealing with the China situation. But I feel like the players and the teams have been a lot more involved when it comes to Black Lives Matter, not just this time, but before. And I think that's where the NHL lags, in that the NBA and Daniel said the MLB, like this has been a conversation, not a big conversation, but they've been talking about it. When things happen, it's brought up. Like LeBron James taught, like the I Can't Breathe t-shirts, that was from a few years ago, and the NBA did something about it, but I don't remember ever hearing anything from the NHL. Right. So I think that's where they lag behind. And it's great that they're starting, but they're starting a race that other sports leagues started years ago.
There's still not that 100% thing of unity. And in F1, this week was a big step forwards in terms of their message. We knew the first few Grand Prix of the season, there was a big mess. Like the drivers weren't really organized. And even after Hungary, Lewis Hamilton called out a bunch of drivers. And then this week, they were much more, like not everyone was kneeling, of course, but it was a lot more organized. The drivers were together. And in hockey, I think William Carrier was next to Ryan Reeves during the anthems. And afterwards, he gave him a pat on the shoulder. And I'm like, I think like Ryan Reeves himself said, like, I don't want to pressure my teammates to do it. But I mean, and I respect him for that. But his teammates, I think it would be because Ryan Reeves, from all you can tell, you don't like playing against him, but he seems like a great guy to be on a team with. And it really is not that difficult to take a knee for a few minutes for the anthems. It's not.
No,
it is disappointing to see a lot of these players, I won't lie, not do anything.
Yeah, and I think this conversation gets clumped in with the diversity in hockey itself, but I think that's a much bigger issue. Like, I think that's not bigger. I think that's a completely separate issue, right? Diversity in hockey isn't necessarily due to that. I think there's a money issue. Like, we can do the math, and it's thousands of dollars a year to play minor hockey, not CHL, minor hockey before whatever, I don't know, the AAA, AA, right? Like, it's not cheap.
Mm-hmm.
So I think to fix the issue, and I'm not saying this is the right solution, but someone has to figure out how to make things cheaper.
Yeah.
I saw Will Baldwin talk about that on Twitter, and that is a discussion for another day. I think just the last little note here, we hope that more players, especially white players, can come out and continue to support people like Ryan Reeves and that, who are taking that step. And guys, I will say this. Where is PK Subban? I know the Devils aren't there. But
how about Evander Kane?
Well, Evander Kane was actually, like, in one of the video packages they had, he was actually involved in it, like, speaking, because he's a member of the the Diversity Alliance. He
commented on Matt Dumba's that speech. I remember that.
PK or Evander?
Evander.
Yeah. Where's PK?
That's the one thing. Like, I know, like, we joked about it before, but, like, I've been hearing a lot more of the discussion too on Twitter. People are like, these other players are doing all these things, and PK Subban's posting stories of him working out with The Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was talking to Adam about that too. And, like, it's very odd that he's not in the Hockey Diversity Alliance. Like, you think about the guys who would fit that mold of who would be the starting guys. I understand not every single guy is going to be in that to start, but he should be a founding, like, he is the most popular Black Canadian athlete, like, in hockey.
Mm-hmm. And just to clear, we're not saying just because he's Black he should be there, but also PK. Joe Ward talked about how when he scored that big goal against Boston, the hate he got. I can tell you there's not a lot of players who have also gotten attacked for scoring big goals in Boston, quite like PK Subban has. And even by his own fan base, PK Subban has been attacked for his race. And yeah, it is very – and we all love PK. Like, we are not attacking him. He's such a good person. You see the work of course, he's done with the Children's Hospital. You want some more from PK.
Really. I wasn't – in no way, I don't think either of you were attacking him. I think it's just questioning.
It's just something. It feels weird. Yeah, he's, like, left out. That it just, we're still waiting on him to kind of say at least something.
Yeah. We don't, to piggyback off of you a little bit there, Daniel. We don't know if they've even approached him, if he's approached them. Right. But, like, saying something more on Twitter would be nice.
Yeah.
What's he doing right now? He doesn't have anything.
He was learning how to swim with Lindsey Vonn.
It's an interesting conversation because I believe he's been vocal about these issues before, right? Before now, Adam would bet.
I've seen him in interviews, but I've never really seen PK and Lindsey put anything on. I want to be careful what I'm saying here, but I've never really, off the top, I could be wrong, but off the top of my head, I've never really, of course, in interviews I've seen it, but I've never seen PK himself do some big post about it. Maybe he put something in his IG, but nothing springs to mind.
You know,
I think like he's. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I think it's an interesting. Well, it's a separate discussion, and like there's a lot of people who have been talking about this for years, and then they're like, man, like, and then they get criticized for not talking about it. Well, okay, let's yeah. I don't know about Emma Watson, but the examples that were coming to my mind are there's lots of black comedians who've been talking about this issue in most of their specials. Like the guy that comes first to mind was Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle, he talks about it a lot, and then this happens, and he's like, I don't need to say something. I've been talking about this. You just haven't been listening. And the whole thing is we are supposed to be listening and learning. So it's just, it's such a weird thing. I still question why PK wasn't.
I think the thing for me is, I think the thing for me is like what we talked about is like normalizing these kind of things. And what I kind of felt is like, I think, PK has probably had these things in the past where he's shown support. Like I remember the whole thing, with Wayne Simmons in London during that preseason game where he kind of got like, a lot of racial slurs. They threw a banana on the ice.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just one thing I kind of see is what bothers me the most with PK not being there is that it's not like there's like a huge united front there. It's like, what we kind of need now is when I talk about normalizing these things is everyone kind of coming together for like the bigger effort, not just like these one-off things where like, that's horrible. And then like, let's move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's a different,
because I was scared that like, like the Keandre Miller situation. I really did not want that to just kind of like brush under the rug.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
It doesn't feel like anyone's even brought that up in a while, but that was. I feel so bad for that kid. Apparently, the nicest person too. If only I would Mike on, he'd probably tell us great stories about him. Keandre, great name too.
Yeah.
Keandre Miller, nicest guy at the draft. He was one of those players, and when the Rangers drafted him, said, "Of course, the Rangers got him." God.
Yeah.
Though, guys, we'll go on to another issue here. We're talking a little bit about. Actually, one more thing I wanted to bring up.
Okay.
Good on Jason Dickinson, because apparently Tyler Seguin before the Anthems went to the Stars dressing room and said, "This is what I'm going to do," and Jason Dickinson came out to him and said, "I want to do this with you." Which is that's wicked. That's wicked for Jason Dickinson to say, I want to support these guys. So to Robin Leonard, and he acknowledged also that he had this. I didn't know he had Trump on his mask or something.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either.
Yeah, but good on Leonard that he's in the posting he was talking with Ryan Reeves about it's time for more than just talk. It's time for to really change now. So respect to those guys a lot. So guys, we had another round of COVID testing around the NHL. Again, first real start of the playoff series. 0 cases. The bubble is working.
Yeah.
MLB.
You love to see it.
We love to see it.
The NBA, the MLS, and the NHL seem to have it under control.
And then you look at the MLB.
Yeah. Manfred said what? He doesn't think that COVID's going to...
He doesn't think it's a nightmare. He doesn't think it's a nightmare because they have the protocols in place.
Yeah.
How many games have they been canceling already? It's like...
The Blue Jays didn't even play this weekend.
Yeah, like against the Phillies. It's ridiculous.
Fun times.
You know what else is kind of ridiculous?
Tell me.
That The Rock is now a part owner of the XFL.
I didn't even know that was still a thing.
I remember that, hearing about that. Was it $15 million buy-in?
Yeah. So
the entire XFL.
This was yesterday. Yeah, The Rock and Redbird Capital are buying the XFL for $50 million.
Yeah. Who does that even? Yeah.
Sure.
Interesting. So of course the XFL is the sort of football league that was made by Vince McMahon, the guy who's like the head of WWE, and it's the second time that they've tried to bring it up here. And I'm embarrassed to say I've done a bit of research about this. When it first started out, they brought a bunch of WWE guys to come in and like do some hype for it. And The Rock, I guess, was still, because we all remember The Rock was a wrestler, went to one of them. And again, The Rock used to play football. I don't know if he was any good.
I think he was. I don't know if he played a game.
He was in the CFL.
He was in the CFL.
Yeah.
And I believe he's part Canadian. Like, I think his dad's Canadian.
He was on the Rough Riders, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Calgary. Either Rough Rider, right?
Somewhere in the West. Somewhere in the West. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he played at University of Miami. I used to be a big fan of The Rock during his WWE early days.
Yeah, because
What happened to him running for president?
The Rock was going to run for president?
Yeah, wasn't that a thing?
Oh.
Was it?
I think that's what people wanted him to do.
Instead of Kanye or with Kanye?
No.
As his running mate?
No.
Can you just imagine The Rock giving speeches? He would just be wicked. He'd put Trump.
It would be wicked. It
Motivation.
would be wicked.
Yeah. He doesn't need someone to write his stuff. He could just. It's like anytime he puts a post on Instagram, it's like a speech. It's wonderful.
His dad was from Nova Scotia.
Whoa.
So, say it again.
So The Rock's going to run for prime minister?
The Rock's father is from Nova Scotia.
So shouldn't he run for prime minister?
I don't know if he has a Canadian, holds a Canadian passport.
Okay.
We can forgive that.
Okay, John Turner.
Sorry?
Oh, not that JT. John Turner, former prime minister, was actually born in Britain.
Really?
Yeah, and he became Canadian prime minister.
Yeah, don't you just need the citizenship?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, but our current JT is under some fire right now.
JT Miller?
No, not
John Tavares will be under fire in an hour.
Bit too much politics. We'll move on though. How about we have a look at every series so far that's gone on?
Okay.
And we'll give a little breakdown here, a little bit of analysis to real hockey games that we have not had.
Like a grade or like just how we feel?
We'll just talk about it. I don't want to grade it.
Okay. Because I'm thinking the Leafs B-.
The Leafs B-. Wow.
Like, it was watchable. They got the shots on goal. They just didn't score.
All right.
Let's get to it
there
later.
yet.
Yeah, okay.
Not there yet.
I'm too excited. Sorry.
Stop it. We're not there.
Okay.
Anyway, though, Daniel's got a nice Toronto hat on. If you want to see it, gentlemen, ladies, who are listening to this show, go check out the YouTube channel for a video version and experience of this podcast. We'll start with the series that this is going to be more. Sorry.
Just before you start, sure. I don't know if you have the Florida game on, but Corey Schneider is now an NHL analyst. Okay, let's just put that out there. Retire, Corey. Become an analyst. Let's get her done.
I remember that thing I sent you guys where it's like life moves pretty fast. Corey Schneider was like an 88 in an NHL game like 2 years ago, and then like this year is the AHL.
You know, I don't remember which game he was working as well the other day, but he was good. I want to say it was Carolina, New York game too. He's good.
Do you think the Devils just burned him out when they first got him? He played like 77 games a season.
I think the hip surgery got him.
Yeah.
Well, Luongo talked about it too, right? That hip surgery, because I believe he had a similar one.
Mm-hmm. I feel bad for him. And it's not like the team in front of him ever gave him a bit of a chance, but he knows what he's doing. He's got some great air, joining Patrick Sharp and an NBCSN team. You know what? Actually, before we get into it, the hockey itself, what do you guys think about the NBCSN sort of broadcast presentation we've been getting so far? Because it means we've been getting Mike Milbury commentary. And I don't like it.
I don't think most of the games I watched have been the American teams.
You're lucky.
Yeah, I've been watching the away ones a lot, like the Sportsnet stuff.
You're lucky. I was so mad. I was watching the Caps Tampa Bay game, and they just started trashing Jonathan Drouin when they were talking about Mikhail Sergachev. I was like, what is going on here? It's
just in the notes.
I was so upset. There's no need for this. But I think Gord Miller's been doing some of the commentary. It's like, is it Gord Miller?
I remember seeing him at Eden Center.
Yeah.
With his family, and I said, "Hi, Gord." I don't know why, and he
Did he say
hi
hi
back.
back?
Yeah, but reluctantly.
Oh.
That's my buddy went to my buddy for a few years went to Guelph with James Dutchy's kid, but he didn't say hi to James because he's his kid. Wicked mistake, Daniel. We still gotta meet Elliot when Bob McKenzie. Sorry. Okay, hockey.
Yeah. Anyways, yes.
Yeah, I was just saying we already met Elliot. Okay.
Yeah.
On a
Yeah.
first name. We're all on a first name.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're all pretty casual now with them.
We just call him E. Okay, well, we'll start with the Florida and Islander series because, see, they did the schedule so far. They, except for I'd say day 2, the spacing of the games has been really, really good. Except when in day 1 they put the Islanders an hour after the Edmonton game started, Edmonton-Chicago game 1. So I didn't really get to watch a lot of it, but I have.
Were you
it on
gonna
right
watch
now,
it?
guys.
Were you gonna watch it?
Hmm?
Were you gonna watch the Florida and New York?
No. I mean, it's exactly what you'd think it'd be. It was a 2-1 Islanders winning game 1. They're up 1-0 right now. And one of my best friends, a guy named Cameron, he's been with this girl named Jen for a few years now, and her brothers are over, and they're from Edmonton, right? They're still Leafs fans, but they're happy with the Oilers. And he's been texting me over all the games because he's just been watching everything as well.
Yeah.
It sucks. I tried to get him into hockey. It didn't work out. Gets a lady friend. Changes people.
Yeah.
But I love you, Jen. So what's really funny is I was like, so how are you enjoying everything, Cam? And he's like, oh, I love it. He's like, but this Islanders-Panthers game is really boring. And I'm like, you know what? You're a real hockey fan now.
Yeah. If you can watch, if you get through this game, you're a real hockey fan.
Honestly, what I loved about it though was I don't know why I was cheering for Sergei Bobrovsky to bounce back.
I wasn't.
I'm like, I don't know, like the whole Bobrovsky with the you're off the case Bobrovsky, like it's with
what's the hell's his name?
With Dan O'Toole, Jay and Dan. It's just like I always loved that guy. I don't know.
Let's just talk about Jay for now, okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Let's stay away from Jay and Dan for now.
All right, but yeah, Bobrovsky. I don't know. Like I know he got the huge contract that he probably shouldn't have signed, and
to live in Florida for 7 years making $70 million.
But like I was happy that the save percentage was over 900.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Hallelujah. He actually did his job.
Oh.
I mean,
I still like the guy.
It doesn't count when it's the Islanders. They're not going to be
I have a soft spot for Keith Yandel.
Yeah.
That's
like
true.
I believe Michael Hutchinson won a game against the Islanders. So
Leafs great, Michael Hutchinson.
Yeah, Leafs great, Michael Hutchinson.
Okay.
And then
make this about the Leafs.
No, I'm not. But Sergei Bobrovsky got pelted by the Tampa Bay Lightning in the preseason game when we're all supposed to be stiff. I don't trust Sergei Bobrovsky.
But we have to remember him against Tampa last playoffs.
He made that's true. He did make 26 saves in game 1, so that's not terrible. But again, I don't know how many quality shots are going to be getting through to him. He needs to keep an eye out for Eberle, Barzell, and that's it.
Pajot?
Okay, that's fair because he's a playoff guy. That 4-goal game.
Brock Nelson?
No.
Solid power forward.
No. Honestly, Barzell and Eberle, that's what you're looking out for. And we can give it to Pacho. Yeah, Andy Green from the Point too.
Andy Green from the Point. All right.
That second round pick.
You know who's had a really rough series in those games? Zach Boychuk. Man.
You mean Johnny Boychuk?
Johnny.
What did I say?
You said Zach, the center that follows everyone on Twitter.
The Carolina guy who everyone follows on Twitter. Who follows everyone on Twitter. See, Johnny Boychuk, man. For those of you who don't remember, he was the guy who got the Lehkonen skate on his eye or just above his eye.
Yeah.
So game 1, he got rocked a bunch, including a hit from Matheson that could have been suspended. They didn't end up doing it because except the head wasn't the principal point of contact, even though we did kind of get hit in the head. But man, he has had it rough to start this series. He really has. I feel so bad for the guy.
I believe he's not playing today.
Really?
Yeah. Let me double check that because I read that they were going to have 2 extra skaters, or 1 extra skater technically during warm up, and then they would decide. But I don't entirely know how warm up that's going to make your decision any better. But okay, okay. Let's see.
Well, guys, right
Yeah,
now
he's
the
not playing.
Islanders. He's not? Okay.
No.
The Islanders are up 1-0 in the series. 1-0 in game 2 here. I guess, really, what do the Panthers have to do here?
The Panthers are up 1-0.
The Panthers are? Yeah. No, are we?
You said New York.
I thought New York were up 1-0.
No. The
Really?
Panthers are winning this game 1-0.
Who scored?
No, the Islanders lead the series 1-0 is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but then you said they're also up 1-0 in this game. That's why it was Hoffman scored, by the way. Daniel. Hoffman
They're so
scored.
boring.
Oh, okay.
Okay, what do the Panthers have to do? Because they have the talent. They do up front. You know, they have Huberdeau. They've got Sasha Barkov. May have heard of him. They have Keith Yandel. But the key is they've got to get those guys through the Islander system. And they've got to start getting a few past Semi and Varlamov.
Joel
just gotta-
Quenneville. Oh, sorry.
yeah.
Go,
No,
Daniel.
go on. They just got to use all that skill they have. Like, they have Evgeny Dandinov as well coming in. I don't know why they still traded Vince Trocheck. So I just thinking about that. Now looking back up, they're like top 9. But, yeah, like, they have enough skill to kind of, like, go through the cycles, get around that, like, tough Barry Trotz system, and, you know, just get the pucks on net.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's honestly, like, get pucks on net.
Pucks in deep, pucks on that.
Yeah. Get the bounces.
I think it's more than that. Because you can get pucks on net, but, like, if you're not getting quality scoring chances, then you're the Montreal Canadiens.
Just stay
Of
solid.
course.
Like, even on the back end, too. Like, Aaron Ekblad has to kind of play to what we know he can play to.
This is very true. I still can't believe Matheson is in the position where he's, like, top 5 in turnovers. We'll stay in the Eastern Conference then. And I guess we'll talk about a series that very well could be over by tonight. That's the Rangers and Carolina Hurricanes. A series I think we all thought was going to be entertaining. I think Edmonton has stolen that, right? And I think we all kind of – Daniel, I think you were a bit more cautious with the Rangers because, man, they have just been totally outclassed by the Hurricanes so far. Being led by former Hab, Sebastian Aho, and the goal-scoring machine that is Andrei Svechnikov.
I don't know. It's the Rangers. They can't. I don't know. Like, they're going to be good soon, but I don't. Like, for me right now, like, I don't see them having it this year.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about it before, but like, there are the pieces that are going to develop. You know, Panarin's going to be Panarin, and we're going to see that all come together. But the thing is, I think it's time. Take out Lundqvist.
Please.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, hold on a minute. First of all, in Game 1, Lundqvist was great.
He was.
Game 2, was he human? Yes. But he's getting no support. And I mean, I don't trust Georgiev. And
No,
Shesterkin would be playing.
Yeah, Shesterkin.
But he's unfit to play.
Oh, yeah.
Is he still unfit to play?
I don't know yet. I don't think there's been anything confirmed. I'll check Twitter. But, like, in Game 1 and 2, he was unfit to play. That's why Lundqvist was in. And, I mean, I don't think Zibanejad's even scored yet. Panarin has a goal and assist so far in the series, I believe. But, I mean, I think this is when – and by the way, the point was made that Carolina are just so in sync right now. Mrazek hasn't had to be fantastic. Their defense is as good as we all thought it was.
Just too deep.
Their top guys are going. They are going.
Yeah.
Led by Svechnikov with I think it was Carolina's first ever postseason hat trick in game.
I like the when they gave him the hats, there was a Whalers hat they added there. Yes.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah.
They're wicked. And they don't have Dougie Hamilton.
Yeah.
No.
And I don't even know. Like, I think they're so in sync, and the way that Rod Brindamore has them playing makes them that much better.
Mm-hmm.
And the issue with the Rangers is that they have a really good top, like their top line and Artemi Panarin, because Artemi Panarin somehow is not playing on that top line, seem during the regular season seem to be strong, but the rest of the forward, the bottom two lines are quite weak. And in terms of defense, they only have a strong right side. Like their left side isn't very strong, right? I think you have Brendan Smith. I'm
getting daily face up.
I know Ryan Lindgren played, but he's still quite young. And they had Brady Shea playing on the left, and they traded him.
I know. To Carolina
of all teams. And now they're stuck in that situation where, okay, we don't have Igor Shesterkin. I think if Igor Shesterkin is available, and I understand Lundqvist isn't the main issue, but I would try Igor Shesterkin.
Yeah, I think if he was fit, he would have played regardless. Also, it's very plain that, and we'll say it flat out here, Carolina's top guys are completely embarrassing the Rangers' top guys.
Absolutely.
It's clear as
there's
day.
So much depth there that the Rangers don't have it yet. I would always say that. They don't have it yet.
Is there any way that Brendan Lemieux, who has finally done his suspension, can help you get that sandpaper in there?
Fourth line energy guy.
Yeah. Is there any way that maybe that guy can inject some energy into the lineup and help you try and turn this around? Now, of course, in best of 5 series, you may have heard this watching the game. Only one team has come back after being, I think it's down 1-0 after game 1. So
really?
The odds are in Carolina's favor. Can Brandon Lemieux help?
No. I don't think that's enough. I think it's just plain and simple.
Mm.
That's not enough. Like, is Brendan Lemieux going to produce points?
Get one of those garbage goals in front of the net.
I mean, it is the playoffs. He can get that trash goal, but I mean,
be like a Devontae Smith-Pelly with the Capitals.
He has to get past that Carolina defense. And
right.
I can't even remember. Like, there's no highlight that's coming up in my mind of the Rangers even getting guys in front in the first 2 games. This is one I wish we had Mike on because he could probably let us know. But
Ryan Strome, I don't know.
Listen, the left side is Ryan Lindgren, who's quite young, right? Brendan Smith,
not good,
and Mark Stahl.
He's old. Yeah.
What do you want me to say?
Only if they had Ryan McDonough or something on that left side.
But even if they just had Brady Shea, I think that would be like it. Again, I don't think there's not a lot of teams who beat Carolina's core.
Yeah, like enough to just stabilize things, I think, like a Brady Shea guy there. Yeah.
It partially stabilizes their core.
I don't know. Why did they trade him again?
Well,
to get something for him? I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But he had term. It wasn't like he was.
Yeah, and he's 25.
Yeah, the question was asked, like, why would Carolina with their defense bother to get him? But yeah, why would the Rangers do? They're probably biting themselves right now. And I guess, did the Rangers really expect at the deadline to be this? No, I don't think they imagined they'd be in this position. Islanders just tie it up. There you go. Wicked. You'll have to see it then. Any sort of last few things you guys like to say, starting with Alex, about this series?
No, but Carolina, I think they can make the sweep tonight.
I hope they do. I think they're going to make – I was telling you all over text, Alex. I think the Hurricanes are going to make serious noise in this playoffs.
I think tonight's going to be 4-1 Carolina. I don't know. Wow. I feel that's a score. I'm just feeling it right now.
And then we can have Mike on the show and make fun of him.
This is true. Man, I felt bad for him. I really did. I was trying to make him feel a little better after the Leafs game. But man, I'm sorry, Mike. I'm very, very sorry, Mike. We'll leave Montreal and Pittsburgh for a little later. Let's just talk about Montreal.
Okay.
Why not? The story of the series was exactly what people thought would happen for Montreal to have a chance. Carey Price has been a god.
He's been carrying them.
It's almost like Carey Price is good in the playoffs, like he always is. Don't mind me. But he's just – there was the question of, is Carey Price the best goalie in the world anymore? And people were like, no. And I was like, no, I don't think he is either anymore, but he's still one of the top. And then this playoff happened, and I'm like, no, he's still the best.
He's up there with John Gibson.
Stop it. Like, Montreal, right? Somehow the penalty kill has been good. A big part of this has been Carey Price. It's also Nick Suzuki's a pretty good player, guys. But, oh, boy. Pittsburgh cannot get a lot going on that power play. It feels like Malkin just seemed to, like, not be able to do anything so far. They've had all
Seems tired.
opportunities in the – yeah. Like, the Montreal are riding 3 defensemen over, 25 minutes, and Petrie, Sherrod, and Weber. And the Pens, I don't think have any – we'll start with the Penguin side of this. I don't think they have any excuse. I understand Carey Price, but the amount of chances they've had with the man up is I don't quite think there's an excuse for them. This is Pittsburgh, guys. This is Sidney Crosby. This is Malkin.
Honestly, sorry. Go.
No.
The only thing I kind of feel like what we kind of been waiting for is like that well-rested Carey Price, and like what we're seeing now, it's like he's back to like that elite status. Like I think he dealt with a lot of injuries. There's a lot of things where like there's like inconsistency issues that we talked about with those like losing streaks, but now like I don't know, like this is like what you said, like it's kind of back to like he is one of the top guys. It's just the guys in front of him need to do a bit better. But like they got really lucky in game 1.
Man, didn't they?
Yeah.
This third Kotkaniemi getting the most garbage goal ever. But sorry, focusing on Pittsburgh though.
It just the Matt Murray. I don't know. It's like this was a Matt Murray game 1. I kind of just saw it like that. It just, of course, he let in these goals. Like like I know he's been pretty solid. He's won cups for them, but it's just how he's been like the last season. It's like those type of goals that, especially like that first Kotkaniemi goal. That one was like, okay, that's not inexcusable. I mean,
Alex,
here's. I think what I said before is a lot of things have to go right for Montreal. And I think some of it did go right in game 1. In terms of Carey Price stood on his head and Pittsburgh really weren't that good in terms of scoring. But every time I look at the shots, and I know it's not a the best indicator, but Pittsburgh was just shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting. I don't know how much longer that can last.
They kept cycling through
and I
those
understand
top guys.
he's the best goalie, right? I'm not going to dispute that with you, but to get shot at like that, something's going to go wrong eventually.
In game 1, Pittsburgh were north of 90 shot attempts. And I do not know how in the world you let that happen.
Yeah.
It is incredible.
I have a tweet here, Adam, you probably saw it, but it's from Andrew Berkshire, and it was after yesterday's game. If Mark Bergevin isn't watching this and his main 2 thoughts aren't, number 1, get Price a backup that can play 30 games, and number 2, tell Price that he needs to be part of the solution and play 50 to 55 games per season max, he's nuts. I don't know if that's what the issue is. And I feel like it's been the same issue for years. Even when PK was there, right?
Yeah.
So it's not that you need to find Carey Price a backup goalie who can play 30 games. I think, yes, you should do that. That's the way the NHL is moving. But find someone who can play defense. How about that?
I think it's more like the one thing going for Montreal's defense in this series is that those guys are physical. And, oh, my God, is Brett Kulak having a series? Like, I love him, but, man, that guy's been wicked. But it feels like they need another offensive guy to really help there, to help, generate those rushes and that, because right now it really feels like offensively they can't get anything going. And also, I will give you that actually. Defensively, it just feels like there's never a system. You think the heavens that Shea Weber naturally just knows what he's doing, because otherwise I just don't even want to know. Even though he had a really bad start to game 2, what they would look like right now.
I just feel like we're having the same conversation we did back in October, that they need someone to score and they need another actual top 4 defenseman.
The big, going back to game 1, they were so lucky. Kotkaniemi basically falls into his first NHL goal. Nick Suzuki played 23 minutes in game 1. It helps that Philip Deneau took a few minors. So Suzuki was so key on a 5-on-3 penalty kill the Habs had in game 1. Also had a wicked goal. Fantastic shot. That's a type of game that makes a player like Nick Suzuki better. Mm-hmm. This is like the example you have of playoffs being great for your young guys. But going to their scoring issues, and we'll focus on the forwards here. These are Montreal's goal scorers so far. Game 1, Suzuki, Kotkaniemi, and then Jeff Petrie, that wicked toe drag snipe. Love to see it. Game 2, Jesper Kotkaniemi. So there was a really good tweet, I think, from Habs Chronicle saying that right now, without Montreal's, of course, without Carey Price and their 20-year-olds, the Canadians are completely screwed.
But sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think that's something we already knew, though, right? Like, the way the team is built, is it supposed, like, whether he admits it or not, it's, okay, we'll call it a retool. I guess that's fine. That's how retools or even rebuilds work, right? Like, that it's supposed to be about the young guys and Carey Price and Shea Weber in this scenario. Mm-hmm. Right? So to me, that doesn't come as a surprise.
The reason it's a red flag for me is because, yes, those guys, you love to see it. Though the issue comes that Thomas Tatar has not been great. Phil Deneau and Brendan Gallagher, the three of them combined haven't scored. And I mean, it really feels like it feels like Montreal is never controlling play now. It's consistently like they're chasing it, or they can't set up in the offensive zone.
It's like they're responding. They can't set up their own stuff.
They had they started well enough in game 2 to start the first period. And then in the third, they had a bit of a rush, but it was still never – it's kind of like if you're playing NHL and you're playing against someone who's clearly better than you, the moment you get into the zone, you're going to try and get something on net. And hopefully a guy's going up front. Like you're just desperately trying to get a shot out when and where you can. And the Habs it's not working because this is Pittsburgh. But luckily, we talked about it. They have Carey Price. And if the Habs can start clicking offensively, if that top line can keep going, if the young guys can step it up, if Jeff Petrie and Brett Kulak can be them, it's a bit embarrassing for Pittsburgh that the Habs, realistically looking, have a good shot of winning now. Like, looking at the Pittsburgh side of this, I don't think you can look at them and listen, Montreal are 24th team. Let's not forget this. But I think people need to be a bit more critical to the Penguins here, because you cannot I'm going to double check how many power plays they've had and how many they haven't scored on. Because eventually, it's like that famous Carey Price video Steve Dangle has. You can no longer just use an excuse that it's CP. Like, the Penguins have to be better. Right. Especially Malkin. He's been invisible.
A lot of underachieving, I think. More or less, they have their top 6 guys back. And to kind of just try something, it's just not working. I really liked that they got Carter Sheary back. Mm-hmm. For that kind of chemistry type of fit, but it's just it's true. They've gone through the cycles. They've kind of gone let's see what we can throw at Carey Price. And what we talked about before, if it wasn't for Carey Price, I think the floodgates would have opened for the Canadians.
I don't want to think about game one without Carey.
Yeah, but it is like, it's either Pittsburgh kind of like regains their momentum and, tries to go for another run, or, they just get embarrassed and be deemed like, they just underachieved this year again.
Right.
Um,
I'm just. Oh, sorry. Go, Adam.
No, I just wanted to see so far. Yesterday, what Pittsburgh went 0 for 5 on the power play. I'm going to get game one up as well.
So I think of their Islanders series last year where it just they kind of got stranglehold from like that system, and now it's just they have to kind of just work around that again. It's just this time, yeah, they're going against the best goalie in the world right now.
Right. Well, Adam, when you're done looking at what was the difference? I guess we can talk about Montreal. What was the difference between that first game and game two, like in terms of how they played?
There was a lot. Believe it or not, it felt like Montreal got a bit more offensive zone time in game one, especially with the overtime. But a big problem was, holy crap, their discipline is terrible. They've taken 12 penalties through the first 2 games. Pittsburgh's only converted on 1 of them.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, it's really just been kind of the same we've almost saw in the in that Leafs game. The power play still is terrible. Not a lot has changed from game 1 to 2, except just worse penalties, to be honest with you. Like physically, like Shea Weber is still stirring the crap, but from game 1 to 2, it almost felt like a little worse. But to be honest, it was still the same sort of Pittsburgh's outshooting us, outperforming us at every turn here.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So yeah. Again, yeah, it was 5 power plays in game 2 for Pittsburgh and 7 in the first game, and they only got on 1 of them. Montreal as well, 0 for 5 in game 1 and 2 combined. And by the way, hits Montreal were in game 1, 53 to 30 because they never had the puck. Also the same in game 2, and 0 for 3 in game 2 for Montreal's power play. So 0 for 5 for them too. Special teams being a problem. Have we heard that before? Shall we move on though to more teams and such?
Sure.
Okay. Do we want to talk about Toronto, or do we want to leave that for a little later?
Whatever you want.
Okay, then yeah. I think this is we'll go. Okay, then Toronto Blue Jackets, guys. Game 1 was, to me, and Alex, I know you're gonna have some real good analysis here because you've rewatched the game, and I think you watched the highlights and you've listened to a bunch of the Leaf stuff and that. So
I watched the game twice.
Yeah, you watched the game twice?
Yeah.
Wow.
All right.
I should give you this hat.
I had to.
Mm-hmm. That Columbus played their game, and they played it well.
Yeah.
Yes. That's it. Like from a Columbus perspective, they played their game, and they dominated. Maybe not dominated, but they played their game very well, and it just didn't seem like Toronto really had an answer for it. There's a lot I found there's a lot to unpack. Like my first impressions of the game were really that, okay, Freddie, Robertson, and Austin Matthews, both times I watched the games, I think had really good games. And I get, like, in terms of Robertson, I think maybe I hold a different standard to what I expect from him because he's 18. But I think, yeah, he got bodied a little bit. He didn't convert on his chances. But I think for the most part, that third line was probably the best line last night. Or 2 nights ago.
2 nights ago, yeah.
Sorry, 2 nights ago. I think it was that Kerfoot, Kapanen, and Robertson line looked really good. And if they can start producing, I think that's what will end up giving the Leafs that really big advantage, and that they can have that third line actually putting up points.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of Freddie, other than that one goal, I think he played a spectacular game, and it was the team in front of him that was another travesty. And Matthews, I really think, he had a couple good shots. Korpisalo made that really big save on him, and he couldn't get past Korpisalo is really what it is. But I think for the most part, I saw him coming back. Obviously, every player has their defensive mishaps a game, and that's what this game was for the Leafs. In terms of positives, that's like, I think, yeah, you know what? Their top six in terms of defense, I thought was better than usual. But their offense, it's like they literally couldn't do a single thing. And I was talking to Mike about it too, and he made a good point. Toronto is so, even before Matthews, was very offensive focused. You look at even their defense, who their big guys in the past were, they were guys that can put up points, right? Well, maybe not Dion, but what ends up happening with this team is that they try to play defensively and then lose the offensive gift. Like, where did it go? Like, you played a good defensive game, but the whole point of you playing the good defensive game is that you're supposed to score goals. And what happens is they go down to the level of their opponent. And this was the issue throughout the year, and that issue hasn't changed. I don't know how to change it, but that needs to change, because you cannot play to the level of your opponent. That's just not going to happen. Like, they should be controlling the offense of the game. There's no reason that last night or 2 nights ago, John Tavares and Mitch Marner were practically invisible. There's, like, you're getting paid $22 million. Mm-hmm. Like, yes, I get you have during the regular season, you can have a invisible game here or there, but you are supposed to perform in the playoffs. And I feel like we're just going back. It's like I'm having the same conversation I did last year and the year before that and the year before that. And that the same conversation the same thing that plagued the Leafs the last 3 seasons haven't changed. And this year it's even better because we have Cody Ceci to complain about.
Did he have a good game?
No. When was the last? If you can go back through the episodes and find me praising Cody Ceci, please let me know. I don't think I've ever done it.
I think I did it once when I'm like, they got rid of like the Zaitsev cap hit.
That's it. Yeah, that's the only time I've ever said, "Hey, let's bring in Cody Ceci." Other than that, man, he's just not good. I'd grab a beer with him.
Oh my God!
But he's not good.
So what did you make of Columbus's performance here? Because they, like we said, they did exactly what they needed to do. When they had to, Korpisalo was there for them. Pierre-Luc Dubois is fantastic. That guy's pretty good. Seth Jones, Zach Werenski. Anytime they did need to, looks like they were going for a chance. Werenski was leading the rush there. What did you guys make of Columbus, starting with you, Daniel Emmanuel?
I really like, Pierre-Luc Dubois' game. Like, the way he kind of just matched up with, like, the Leafs, like, top guys. I really loved it. I've said this before when he was in the World Juniors. I always envisioned him as the next Jonathan Toews, also because he went 3rd overall. But, that's a big comparison. But it's something where I'm really loving how he's kind of developing his game now. He's becoming, more of like that elite two-way guy that, the scoring will probably hopefully develop more with him. But he was the kind of guy where, he's someone Columbus really needed after what they had the offseason, losing all those guys. He's a guy that, he's a legitimate top 6 guy that could help with, it's not just Cam Atkinson. It's not just Gustav Nyquist.
And sorry, I should have probably asked you, Daniel, what you thought of the Leafs' performance before going to Columbus. So if while you're here, do you want to talk about that as well?
Yeah, it was manageable. They didn't really kind of like implode or anything, but it's that thing that every sports writer has had of them. Like, it's the $40 million power play. It's like, that crazy top six they kind of had. It's just they didn't get the shots in. It's just they need to execute, and they can't have another game like that where they let Columbus play their game like that.
Mm-hmm. And Alex, we'll go to you again. Columbus, what did they do really well for you? Besides their game?
What? No, I think they managed that game, and I think they did it really well in terms of they blocked the neutral zone.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like it was impossible for the Leafs to get past it when they crowded when the Blue Jackets crowded the neutral zone, and they were kind of forcing the Leafs to do a little bit more dumping and chasing than they usually do, and that's where they got screwed. Mm-hmm. That's where they got screwed because it's not that their guys necessarily aren't built for it. It's that the guys aren't doing anything about it. In terms of when you go dump the puck, go chase the puck and make sure you get the puck.
Well, it's heavy forechecking is what it is.
Yeah.
That's the key to a good dump, right? And I think it's then like forechecking, a lot of it to me is like it's the effort. Like if Brendan Gallagher isn't a skill player, but the bastard tries hard, and
right.
If they, it goes back to the discussion really of the skill versus will. And I'm not saying the Leafs didn't try, but when you're forechecking, all you need to do, besides actually throw the body, is you need to give it to him.
Have more heart and soul, I think, like on those forechecks.
You gotta outwork the other guy.
Like
battles. Yeah.
Oh, so
that's the big key for them.
Does Columbus system remind you guys of a trap system or not really?
A trap?
Like, early 2000s Devils.
That's where he was going.
I was going with that one because when Alex said he clogged up the neutral zone, I'm like, yes, it reminds me of the Jamie Langenbrunner, the J. Pandolfos of the bottom six Devils.
See,
Scott Gomez's.
Daniel, you're exposing me a bit because I've only been a fan since 2014. So
okay, no problem.
No idea what this, I'm thinking like 1-3-1 stuff right now. Like,
I see where you're coming from, Daniel. Yeah,
like you just kind of clog it up, knowing you don't have that same like, like I praise Pierre-Luc Dubois, but he's not exactly an Austin Matthews, John Tavares.
Mm-hmm.
It just you clog it up purposely to kind of like, in a way help them burn out that shift.
See, yeah. When I look at it from the Leafs perspective, I look at because I feel like the fourth line is really it looked irrelevant in that game, if I'm being honest. But you look at the three lines. First line, you have a gritty guy. You have, I don't know who the first line is, the Matthews line, Zach Hyman. He had an uncharacteristically awful game.
Well, I think Seth Jones did make him his bad word.
Yeah, I think he had a poor game, and like just in general, like yes, Seth Jones did. I just think he didn't. He was having an off game, and hopefully tomorrow, God, I'm mixing up my days. Tonight. Hopefully tonight at 4:00, things go a little bit differently. You look at the second line in the Tavares line, Ilya Mikheyev, who's willing to go in there and get his hands dirty. That line just seemed invisible, to be honest. Third line, you got Kasperi Kapanen, right? That's the guy who's supposed to go in there. It looked like that third line, again, I said was probably the best line. Couldn't get the job done. Mm-hmm. And Kyle Clifford wasn't doing a whole lot of much in terms of being
that grit, yeah.
He was visible to a point that I forgot he was playing until you just mentioned it. Because I don't think I heard his name once.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I started watching after the second period and then third period. We'll finish off talking about the top four.
Quickly.
Yeah.
Can please split up Travis Dermott and Tyson Barrie?
Yeah, that
please.
Yeah, Tyson can't be turning the puck over when you're down by one in the third
The
period anymore.
the
But do you
issue
play him in a shadowed role now,
There-
or what do? Do you keep him in
Should
the
be
town?
the third pair
Okay.
is supposed to be a sheltered role. The third
So-
pair, and it's not I'd rather have him with Morgan Riley. I'd literally rather have Tyson Berry with Morgan Riley.
Fair enough.
Because they have the issue is Dermott and Barry's like you don't know what they're going to do next, and they don't know what they're going to do next.
They both want the puck.
So
Yeah.
don't, please split that thing up and put Rasmus Sandin in, please.
Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I did not think a single game in the Islanders-Panthers series would have at least 5 goals in it. But right now, the Islanders are up 3-2, and I don't believe it. Just took a penalty, did the Islanders. Bobrovsky, probably the better thing is getting off the ice right now. Okay, playing teams for the round robin, guys.
Yeah.
I won't lie. I've had a difficult time getting invested in these games because they just, especially, maybe it's because I started with the Bruins game, and the Bruins have been so off. Because of you can bring it down to the players missing time in training camp, stuff with Kasha. The perfection line was not good versus Philadelphia. But then on the other side, I think Tampa Washington was pretty intense until you got to the shootout, because that's somehow a thing. But because these guys haven't played quote unquote meaningful games yet, I don't know if you guys just want to quickly give your thoughts on how one of these teams have played. If we want to make fun of the Bruins, go ahead. But I think it's easier to talk about the West, I'd say, than the Eastern teams right now, because man, I just don't care about these round robin games.
It just seems like the round robin teams aren't trying as much. I don't know if that's the right way to put it in terms of, hey, we know we're going to make the playoffs. These are our exhibition games. Like, you're going to be a top 4 team no matter what, right?
Yeah.
Where you finish in the standing, like the team who comes out with the first overall thing, like, what does that doesn't have a whole lot of meaning right now. You know what I mean? Yeah, you have home ice. Like, the only actual advantage is home ice.
Home ice
is home ice in terms of getting the last change.
Yeah.
You don't actually have home ice because you're playing on the same ice, right? Like, it's the same ice. It's not actually your home. But I think the biggest advantage, it's seating. Yeah, but I think the biggest advantage is probably the home ice in terms of last change and things like that.
The one thing I question is, it's annoying that the players hate this format so, like the previous playoff format, the normal one so much.
Yeah.
Because of a team like the Bruins and Leafs having, or Pittsburgh, Washington, I think is a better example, having to play in the second round. But then if you're not going to go out there and give me your best performance when you have the opportunity to get a better seeding chance, then don't complain ever again about this playoff format. I won't hear it from now on. What about you, Daniel? How do you feel about these round robin teams? And
Yeah, I kind of feel like, I don't know, like, because they started off with like the other ones that there is not that fight for survival that I think that we've been talking about. But yeah, it's still like kind of like a practice thing. Not like to that extent, but I kind of feel that there's not as much heart to these games. And maybe it's just my own personal opinion, because like I've kind of been the same with you guys. I haven't paid attention to them as much as the other series.
then I guess we'll get the round robin Western teams out the way first here. We will pick it up here because unfortunately, Adam, I do need to go. But if push comes to shove, I'll just let you guys finish off. Okay. Dallas and Vegas had a pretty fun game yesterday. Vegas were at one time down 3-1. Came back, wicked win for the Vegas Golden Knights. Being led, Robin Leonard gets the start. Do we make anything about that?
I just wanted Fleury to start.
Yeah, but Robin's better.
No, he's not.
Right now he is.
I don't know if I take much out of it, to be honest. Like, I think if Robin Leonard has one bad game, they could easily just put Fleury in the next game and vice versa. Right, they're going to run.
Imagine that happens again to Fleury. He makes it like he drags his team to the second round, one-off game. Okay, bye, Matt Murray. Except now it's Robin Leonard. Poor guy.
God.
Oh, have you guys like been watching that commercial of him and Mark Stone?
No.
No.
Oh, so it's whatever the new iPhone is. You know how they always do those crappy commercials with the camera to show how good the quality is, even though they're so not shot on that camera.
Yeah.
It's like him and Mark Stone speeding around, but it's like pretty fun. Like at one time, like Fleury does a somersault, and he's like doing like I don't know if you call it a pirouette or something. It's really fun to go watch. And on the other side, Vancouver. Sorry, not Vancouver. Who cares about them? They lost. St. Louis and Colorado had a pretty fun game. I didn't get to watch it as much as I wanted to, but I did get to catch the ending of the game where about a minute and a half left. St. Louis takes a penalty. Alex Pietrangelo looked like he got a bit banged up. Colorado go on the power play. Oh boy, is that power play fun to watch. Oh my God. And with 0.1 seconds left, Nazem Kadri gets the game winner. I'm sure you guys
Our boy.
would like to say a little nice something for Nazem, who has not been suspended yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that in what was I watching? It was one of the things I was watching about, and they were talking about Naz getting that goal, and it was like it was the first time he got headlines in the playoffs that weren't about him being suspended.
This is true. This is very true.
No, I'm happy for the guy. I love that guy has a special place in all Leaf fans' hearts.
Indeed. Okay, and we'll go to the series, and we'll get this one just out the way right now.
Okay.
I almost said Phoenix. The Arizona Coyotes go off to a wicked start. 3 goals in the first period. Nashville did have a bit of a ball buster with Phil Forsberg at the end of it. They still go on to win Game 1, and what do you know? They can score goals on half-decent ice. I'm not saying that it has something to do with them not being able to score in their own arena. I'm just throwing it out there, guys. But good start for the Coyotes in the series of underachieving, sorry.
I mean, let's just start with who had some points. Taylor Hall and Phil Kessel both had 2 points.
Man, Phil was back-checking. And Taylor Hall was playing really well.
Phil was back-checking?
I know, that was weird.
What is this? This isn't real.
He's trying. I love you, Phil.
Yeah, of course.
He's trying to prove Pittsburgh and Toronto wrong.
Hey, still has a special place in my heart.
Yeah.
Okay. But man.
He got the least Kasperi Cap in it, so, we're okay.
Yeah. I'm not complaining.
Freddie by extension.
Yeah.
If we're doing the trade tree.
Yeah.
But I get it. Like, you look at who's in net, Darcy Kemper. 31 of 32 shots. 40 saves, 43 out of 43 shots. Right?
Yeah.
That,
crazy.
like, I feel like the guys who we expected to step up stepped up.
You know who scored for Arizona as well?
Oliver
Ekman-Larsson.
Yeah.
Even though it went off two different Nashville players. And Clayton Keller. To your point there about players they needed to step up, that did step up. Did you see, Daniel, I know for sure you did, that Pecorine had started, 89 playoff straight games?
And his streak is broken.
Yeah, and Lundqvist is at 100 and something apparently too. That will be broken tonight, probably. Shesterkin's away, but man, and I'll say it now because it's going to come up eventually. Duchesne is cursed. He's never going to win again. Not going to happen. I like him, but it's never going to happen. He's not good. He's good. But...
He could heat up. I don't know. Maybe. He has the talent.
Nashville just needs to step up. It can't just be Ellis and Yossi leading the way. Right.
You guys can answer this question if either of you watched the game. I had not caught the game, but I have up, and I get it's one game, but it just UC Saros 892 save. Like, what was UC Saros like?
Human.
Just should he have started? I don't know.
I mean, we're talking about UC Saros or Pekka Rinne, who both did not have good years.
I say go with the experienced guy. Like that's why, that's why as much as like the Lundqvist thing, I know it was out of necessity, but still go with the experienced guy if you have him.
It's like
I personally think
it's like between choosing like to step in cow dung or pig. They're both terrible, but you've just got to make the decision. And they've been like everyone knows that they've been wanting Saros to be the guy to take over for Rene for a while now. So
yeah, I think I was just completely wrong about UC Saros.
It's one game.
No, it was 9-14 during the season. He went 17, 12, and 4, 914 save percentage, 2.7 goals against average.
It's not bad.
Not bad.
Okay.
I think I might have been wrong.
Mm-hmm. All right. Next, though, the Vancouver Canucks, who honestly they get Jared Spurgeon gets a pair of goals for the Minnesota Wild.
What?
They shut out the Canucks 3-0. Unfortunately, I couldn't watch this game because I was just so tired that I could not stay up to watch it. So, but from what I can tell from seeing Harman Dial, I think it was the Fantenberg, or he wasn't
Fantenberg Myers.
Yeah, or something like he was not. I don't know how the Canucks can get shut out by the. I know the Wild have good defense. I told Mike that I like Minnesota's defense, but in no way, shape, or form should the Vancouver Weapons allow themselves to get shut out. And I just want to say I cannot wait for Minnesota to sweep the Canucks.
That's a hot take.
I think this one will be close.
That's a hot take.
I think this will go to 5 games. This one, at least. I don't know. It's hard to analyze both teams. The Wild have a system, and I feel like that's the word of the day on this episode. They have a system, but it's just something that just kind of seems to work. They have, Ryan Suter is still playing pretty well as arguably their number one guy. He gets the most minutes on their defensive end, and I don't. Alex Stalock, remember him? His former Marley. Alex Stalock.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I believe it was part of the James Reimer trade.
Yeah.
It was the Godet line that was disappointing, by the way. Sorry.
Yeah. But, yeah, I don't know. I think, Vancouver's a young team. A lot of their guys, I think they're going to bounce back. Also, Jack Hughes, the type of plays he was
Quinn
making.
Hughes.
Quinn Hughes, sorry. Not Jack. Quinn.
Okay. Yeah.
Who had more points than his center brother.
Let's not confuse the names, okay?
Yes. But yeah, the way he was kind of controlling the plays in the offensive zone, a lot of good motions, I think that they could really bounce back.
I think they will bounce back. I think Adams just doesn't like the Canucks, so he's not going to praise them.
Jacob Markstrom wasn't bad.
No.
Why the hell is Michael Furlan fighting?
He fought
in the first 3 minutes. What are you doing?
Reestablishing himself, I don't know, as that guy.
Sure.
It's definitely a risky thing to do, knowing what
his history.
Yeah, sorry, knowing his history.
All right. Next, we'll go to a series that was tied up after last night, and after a historical game, 5 points for Dominic Kubalik in Game 1, followed by a playoff hat trick by Connor McDavid in Game 2. Chicago-Edmonton, 1-1, fellas. How do we feel? Seed 5 versus Seed 12 in the West.
I think I was wrong. I think this is going to be more of an entertaining series than I predicted.
I was telling Mike that. I said, you know what, Mike? I think Alex and I we didn't give Chicago enough credit. Jonathan Taves, man, the playoffs. Every year we say anything can happen in the playoffs, and then we're all like, "What do you mean the Blue Jackets swept the Tampa Bay?" What do you mean the division winners lost? We forget it. But Taves is he's a god. He's a god. Duncan Keith looked running that power play too.
Pretty good at 37. You loved it.
They just turned back the clock, and and also on the other side of it, McDavid does not care about hat tricks, apparently.
McDavid doesn't care about the legendary line of Slater Cuckoo and Oli Mata.
2012 first rounders. Fun fact.
You see that? Slater Cuckoo had a goal. How the hell that name is spelt the way it is and you pronounce it Cuckoo, I will never understand. But man, it's a good name. Though, God, like, let's just... Connor McDavid is so good.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to quite say. It's just... this is going to be such a can we get a save, please type moment, or can our defense not lay an egg type series? Because my dear God, like Koskinen was better than Smith because how do you not? Because it's Mike Smith.
Still, 3 goals still.
But my dear God, this series is so fun to watch.
I'm predicting it now. Next game is going to be a 7-6 win by either team. Either team.
Oh wow! We're just giving out points.
Yeah,
I'll take it. All right. Who's next, Adam?
Okay, we get to finish off with an all-Canadian matchup here.
If you want to see Adam stretching, you should watch the YouTube channel.
Go back a few minutes and you see me mute my mic so I can sneeze because I'm sick.
Oh.
All right. Finally, all-Canadian matchup here. And my God, is the story of it just Kachuk I almost swore, is such a dickhead. Game 1, Calgary and Winnipeg. An incident involving Kachuk and Scheifele that resulted in Scheifele getting hurt. Also later on, there was a little incident, Patrick Laine. Neither of them played in Game 2 when the Jets came back and had a massive win. And we're talking about Game 1 really, guys, and we'll talk about the incident itself in a second here. It was really that last year, Game 7, Game 1, San Jose, Vegas, San Jose came back off of the injury to Joe Pavelski. They rallied around it. Game 1 very much felt like we've lost our 2 best players, arguably.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel like Winnipeg even came close to coming back from that. And it also helps that Gaudreau scored a playoff goal in Game 1 for the Flames. That never happens.
That's finally decide to wake up there.
Yeah. That's a throw it over to you guys if you want to.
Oh, sorry. I'm like, what are you waving your hand at me for?
What are you doing?
I'm like, if you wanted to say something. No, I listen, if you want to talk about the incident, I know Adam told me that there was a replay that the NHL has of the actual boards.
There's like the blue, that really low and it looks like crappy quality sort of blue line cam. Apparently the teams have seen that, and that's what makes Paul Maurice so sure that the incident of Kachuk's skate and Scheifele's leg was on purpose. Yeah, and we haven't seen it yet.
I mean, just looking at the 2 angles that they showed, I believe on the broadcast, I'd understand why, because it's such a weird way they both went in the boards together. Mm-hmm. And I don't know where the issue is. I don't know where Kachuk's foot was before they got into the boards.
It doesn't help that one of the camera angles they keep showing doesn't show either player's legs by the time of the incident.
Yeah.
Stop using it. I can't see it. Like, all I see is, okay, great, Scheifele is in significant amount of pain before he even hits the ice, which is a bad sign. But my God, show something. Stop using the camera angle.
And like you said, last year San Jose rallied around the Pavelski injury, and I think this team could rally around the Scheifele and Laine injury depending on what the verdicts of both of those injuries are. But man, does that center depth look thin? Like they have a thin D defensive depth, but man, they are really they're going to be relying on Connor Hellebuck.
Yeah. Like hopefully, like what I'm seeing now, like looking at that lineup, how it's setting up, I think like Nick Ehlers and like Kyle Connor now, like they really need to step up.
I think it's more than just those two. I think we've talked about him multiple times this year, is Blake Wheeler. Got to step it up. Like, what's he making? 8.25?
Yeah,
Prove it.
for 34-year-old.
Just looking at their roster very quickly here. Yeah, we all know the story of the defense. I will say though, congratulations, Nick Ehlers, for finally scoring a playoff goal.
Yeah.
Such a monkey, especially after he went after Kachuk in game 2, and took a pretty bad penalty. It's nice for him to sort of have a rebound here. Jansen Harkins scored a goal for them. No one knew who Jansen Harkins was before yesterday's goal. No, you didn't.
Yeah, I actually was gonna bring that up. I read that, and I'm like, have I heard of this guy?
Did he play in the World Juniors?
Oh no, I don't know. If he did and I didn't know that, like, I'd feel guilty.
Oh,
Their fourth line, Nick Shore is the center. Nick Shore, remember him?
Leafs legend.
Logan Shaw, Habs legend. Anaheim, who remembers that? Gabriel Bork, Jack Roslovic, Adam Lowry, and Jansen Harkins, your third line. Second line, Ehlers, Perreault, not bad, centered by Cody Egan. Your top line, Connor Wheeler, centered by Andrew Copp. At least, the Flames have Monahan. He's all right. The Habs, at least back in the day, had mechanics. He's all right. But Andrew Copp is not all right. Cody Eakin, Adam Lowry, great name, and Nick Shore are not all right.
But Cody Kidd did play in the World Juniors. I remember that.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you for
2012.
telling us that. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to mention there?
Yeah, I don't know. Just they have to have the spirited effort now with everything they kind of gone through. But we've all been fans of Connor Hellebuck. I want to see him kind of perform.
I think that guy's gonna perform.
Yeah.
He has to.
I think Calgary is gonna lose. Like, I have the feeling.
I just don't trust Calgary still. I don't want to give them credit. It's weird. I just don't trust the Jets. I mean, the things. I look at them and I think, I don't like you anymore. You used to be the nice, funny, young toy that everyone played with. Sounded really bad. I mean, like the new shining toy that, like the new Transformers toy. I love Transformers as a kid. It's like Optimus Prime.
Mm-hmm.
But then in the West, the Jets showed up and they were Megatron. And everyone likes Megatron more because he's the bad guy.
And he transforms into, like, I think a gun. Remember that? The old one? The 80s one, yeah.
A supercar, like a super jet. He's just cool. And like the Jets are cooler than the Flames or more cool. Cool? They're better. They have better players. Johnny Gaudreau can't do anything in the playoff. One playoff goal in like 5 years? What are you doing?
Are they cooler than an Avalanche?
If you enjoyed this show, I think that's everything though. Anything else you want to add?
Well, I guess from Calgary's perspective, I think if Scheifele and Laine are going to be out and Calgary still go on to lose this, like what's next? Like you gotta you don't want to blow it up. Like I feel like blow it up so a weird term to use, but you have to make some significant changes.
Yeah, you gotta shake up your core a little bit.
For sure.
It doesn't mean trade Johnny Gaudreau, by the way. Don't trade Johnny Gaudreau.
No, it means trade Sean Monahan. I'm just joking. Well, then if you and just quickly, I know we do have to finish up, but if it's not trade Johnny Gaudreau, then who is it that you trade?
I will take Rasmus Sandin. No, I'm kidding. You don't do that. That's a good question. Because I just think I look at Gaudreau's talent and like, man, you can't deal with that. You're not going to get that guy back, no matter what. Daniel has lagged out. Wow, it took to the end of the episode, but wow, god damn it. I don't want to trade Gaudreau. Maybe it is Monahan. Maybe it is a Hampus Lindholm. Not Hampus Lindholm, sorry, Elias. But just if there was one guy on that team, I'm not letting you touch. It's Johnny Gaudreau. I know I make fun of him, but still, you don't just pick up guys who score you 99 points off the street.
Do you think, and it's a conversation that I don't think is really being talked about a whole lot, but what about Brad Treliving What does it mean for him?
That's a good question. Because I think he's gotten a lot of good grace from people this year, myself especially, because he shored up that defense at the deadline. And the way he just dealt with the Bill Peters stuff, Friedman put it well in 31 Thoughts. He said one wrong move and Treliving was going to be burned at the stake. But he did a really, really good job of that. I don't think you can come back with the same roster, but I think you do need to make changes. And what I do, I don't think you fire Treliving. I think maybe next year, something's still not. If he goes out, does some big changes over the summer, and the Flames are still disappointing next season, then I don't see how he could stay there because I don't think they've won a round since he's been there. Well, I don't even remember the last time they won a round.
It's not even that. It's the same issue. Like it's an issue that a couple teams have had in terms of, listen, like you got your coach. Here's your coach, Bill Peters, that you begged for. Mm-hmm. And yes, obviously there is the whole off-ice issues, but if we're looking at the on-ice, it's not like they were outperformed. Like it always seemed like something was wrong. And the start of this year did not go well for them. Last season, they lost to Colorado, who, yes, had a very good team, but Calgary was first in the division. Mm-hmm. Right? So you got your coach didn't work. When do they make a change?
I mean, hey, I think Bergeron's outlived a few coaches by now, so I mean, hey, it'll be interesting to see how he handles the summer also because so many big pieces on the back end are moving out.
Right.
But hey, wow, the Flames. I'm sorry to dissect you guys like that. What I think Daniel said, the Jets are going to win. What do you think the series is going to look like?
Yeah, I still think the Jets are going to win.
It's good. Fantastic. And the good thing that apparently the Scheifele injury is not long-term. I haven't seen anything like on Twitter or anything about Line quite yet, but I mean, Scheifele, I think you begged for him to come back before Line.
Yeah, we probably won't hear anything about it because everything's unfit to play. So,
and I'm guessing Little is just gone. Like he's not coming into the bubble at all.
No, he wasn't. He was. I think just before they announced he wasn't even going to join the team for training camp.
Oh wow, that's tough.
Yeah, it's
all right,
bad.
Do we want to wait for Daniel?
Well, do you have anything else to talk about?
No, I don't.
I guess not.
All right. Maybe. Oh,
speaking of the devil.
And we are back. Sorry, guys. I know that was towards the end, but
that's okay.
Yeah. Okay. I thought it made it more stable already.
That's okay.
We were about to end the episode.
I know that's so funny. Yeah.
Well, since he's here, what do you think about the Calgary Flames? Because I know we talked a lot about the Jets. Okay, he lagged out again. So you know what? We'll try it next episode.
Sorry?
I said we can. Do you want to wait?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to pause it. Yeah. Go.
All right. Unfortunately, we did have Daniel back for a second, though he disconnected about a minute after that. And he just told us just finish it off. So we really talked about everything, covered every base here. We know that Daniel thinks that the Jets are probably going to win, so that's good. Next time we record, and he's back just like in the middle of cutting it out. You said to finish it.
No,
you said, please just finish it.
He's out. He's cut out. He's cut out.
Oh, my God.
So, I'll cut this out.
No, leave it. Leave it in. Okay. It's funny. All right. So we'll just, ladies and gentlemen, well, I guess Daniel's gone again. If you enjoyed this episode of the show, next time we see you, actually, what day is Sunday? The 9th.
Yeah, let's talk. Day. We got to talk. Yeah, we got to talk.
We got to talk?
Yeah, after.
Okay. All right. Okay. Like after we're done recording right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Really quick.
Just came back. Okay. All right. Apparently Daniel's internet came in right as he told us to stop. But okay. Yeah, if you enjoyed this episode, There's tons of ways you can support it. Of course, check out the YouTube channel for a video experience of the podcast. Subscribe to it while you're on YouTube. Check out my YouTube channel for all your Habs needs. You can check out the show's Instagram as well as Facebook to get the discussions going, lads. You can also check out Daniel, Alex, and I's social medias, all in the link below. Thank you, The Voice Ad, as always, for being a fantastic platform for this show. Thanks to you, we no longer swear on the show. It's easier than I thought. Alex, is that everything? Am I forgetting something? I feel like I am.
Did you say the YouTube, the Instagram,
I did.
Instagram page?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
All right. Then
All
we'll
right.
see. Oh, in iTunes, leave a 5-star rating. It helps. Leave
Perfect.
a review. Follow on Spotify, all that kind of good stuff. We love it.